How's it going, everyone? It is Andre Williams, and over here we talk stocks and we focus on one thing. Always protect your profits. And today we're going to be talking about Polestar, which was down almost 10% on the day. We had some news that came out that investors are definitely not excited about. We'll talk about it in this video. I won't waste any more time. Let's jump into the agenda. If you're new to this channel, I just want to let you know we have timestamps down below inside the description. But if you're a shareholder, you're thinking about taking a position, I highly suggest you watch this full entire video. So the first thing we're going to go over is a technical analysis. We're going to be taking a look at the overall price action. We want to know support. We want to know resistance. We want to know what it looks like in the bearish case scenario and as well as in the bullish case scenario. And then we're going to go on FinTel, taking a look at the short interest information. The reason why this is important because it can have an impact on the way the stock performs. And then we're going to be taking a look at the order flow distribution. We want to know the buying and the selling behavior on the retail side and as well as on the institutional side. And then when all of that is done, we'll be going into the final thoughts and as well as some more details. So let's get to it. So we're going to do a technical analysis for Polestar. Let's see how it performed on the day. So it ended up closing at $8.81, being down 9.83%. On the low, it tested $8.70, and then on the high, testing $9.40. When we take a look at the volume stats on the day, you can see we traded at 5.792 million shares, and the average volume over 10 trading days is at 9.101 million shares. So we had below average volume on the day, and you can see we had quite the pullback in the stock. Now, when we take a look at our chart, which is a daily chart, you can see from the RSI down below, it's at 39.54. And then when we take a look at our moving averages here on the chart, we are below the 200-day, the 21-day EMA, and as well as the 50-day moving average. So you can see here we draw our lines from the previous video, and I was saying we wanted to see a break above 1335. It was unable to do that, and instead I was saying if we end up breaking through this 200-day moving average, it can get real serious for the stock in regards to selling, and that is what is happening. So it ended up testing a low at $8.70. If you also remember, we also tested a low right here around the 850s. So there's a good chance we will visit those areas going into tomorrow. And if you want to see a reversal in this play, then we saw the high at $9.40, and there's a big time gap here. So you'd want that gap to get filled to see if it can get to $9.70. And then of course you'd want some support, some consolidation, and then look forward to a next move up to hopefully reclaim right here around 10 bucks. In my personal opinion, I don't see this happening in the near term. I think it'll probably just want to consolidate or have price action around this $8 range. So that's just one thing you want to keep note of. But of course, these type of plays are catalyst driven, and I will go over the news inside of the final thoughts as well in regards to what kind of made the stock sell off like it did. Now let's move on to the short interest information. So we're going to take a look at the recent short interest information for Polestar. So the off exchange short volume ratio is at 40%, and then for the off exchange short volume, it is just over 1.02 million shares. Scrolling down on the page, the short shares availability is at 0, updated 9 minutes ago, and then for the short borrow fee rate, it is at 21.20%. And then when we take a look at the history, you can see for the 28th, it was at 45.47, and then for the 29th, which was yesterday, it was at 40.05. So overall, with the stats that we have, it looks like Polestar does have short squeeze potential. Now let's move on to the order flow distribution. Now let's take a look at the order flow distribution for Polestar. So we see on the inflow, it is at 11.46 million, and on the outflow, it's at 15.05 million. So it's clear we had an outflow day. Take a look at the breakdown. On the large, it was 0.55 million. On the medium, it was 5.29 million. And then on the small, it was 5.62 million. Taking a look at the outflow side, you can see on the large, it was 1.30 million. On the medium, it was 7.58 million. And then on the small, it was 6.17 million. Taking a look at the large scale orders in the last 5 days, you can see for June the 30th, we had that outflow of 0.74 million. And we also see for the 29th, the outflow of 0.54 million. Analyzing the numbers even further for the small scale orders that tends to represent the retail side, you could see that we had more selling than we had buying. And then when we take a look at what happened on the medium, we had more selling than we had buying. And then for the large, which represents whales, institutions, and funds, we had more selling than we had buying. And then when we take a look at the turnover ratio, it was at 0.28%. So this is fairly low for Polestar. I'm used to seeing it much higher. But one thing that is clear though, with the volatility we have in these markets and with the recent news that came out, it did have a big impact on the stock. We'll talk about it further in the final thoughts, so let's get into it right now. So for my final thoughts for Polestar, before we start talking about the price action, let's go over the news that came out, what put pressure on the stock. So why it's down today. So what's behind the fall of Polestar stock today? It looks like a note from Bernstein Research is dragging shares of the electric vehicle down today. According to it, the company is short $650 million that it needs to get through the rest of the year. This note says that Polestar will require $1.7 billion to continue operations in 2022. However, the company only raised $890 million from its recent SPAC merger. That's where the additional $650 million required comes from. Bernstein Research says that Polestar only needs to raise $600 million of this to keep going. Its options for further funding include China's Zhongheng Geely Holdings, Volvo Cars, or possibly even both of them, Reuters notes. So there's no surprises why that would have an impact on the stock. That brings in a lot of uncertainty. I believe that Polestar should be able to get this additional funding, but at the same time, for anyone who's holding a position and being, well, you know what, we are in a high inflationary environment and the companies who have not shown consistent profitability of yet is definitely not the most ideal scenario to be in regards to cash. So that is why you've seen a lot of selling pressure, and it can continue going into Friday, so you want to make sure you're fully aware of that. Now let's talk about the price action. So we ended up seeing a high of the day at $9.40 and a low of the day at $8.70. Keep in mind the 52-week low is right around $8.53. If we don't get any update from the company in regards to how they're going to be coming up with this cash, I could see it pulling back even further and breaking through that 52-week low. So that is a level you're going to want to keep a very close eye on to see what it does. If you're looking for a turnaround and a move to the upside, of course it needs to get back to $10. At the moment, it is trading below all of our major moving averages. So that is why keeping an eye on those levels, especially $10, should help you in regards to seeing if the trend decides to turn around. Like I said, you need an update from the company in regards to their cash position. Another fact that we can't ignore, the chart does look bearish. It has been continuing to form lower lows and as well as lower highs for almost 4 trading days. So just seeing this trend, like I said, it's definitely not looking good going into tomorrow, but hey, we're just gonna have to wait and see what it does. And for everyone that was inside of this play and it had that major spike, if you remember what I said in my previous video, if you can't break above that level, which was around 1336, and it starts pulling back and it starts coming down to 11, there's a good chance that it would just continue to flush, and that is what is happening. Of course, this is only caused by the fact due to the news that came out. Also, when we went on Fintel, taking a look at the recent short interest information, it does have short squeeze potential. Let's be honest here. That's why I was saying if the company comes out with an update in regards to their cash position, I'm looking to see a strong turnaround. If they don't come out with an update, this stock will continue to go on a downtrend. And for all of my investors out there who are in Polestar, if you believe in the long-term prospects and you feel that this company is going to be able to take the next step further to grow the business and deliver value to shareholders, then of course continue to have high conviction. And for my traders, just make sure you have your entry and your exit strategy before entering this play. It is really volatile. We are in high inflationary environments, and when it comes to growth stocks, if they don't show consistent profitability or a strong cash position, they're going to be going through a lot of ups and downs, and a lot of the big money you can clearly see doesn't want to stick around or wait for that. There's other plays that they're going to be looking at. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I can't wait to see how the stock performs going into tomorrow. We'll talk soon.